Hi, my name is Nathaniel Vicens. I'm the Customs Entry Manager here at Park Street. This is part 2 of our series that focuses on CBMA, or the Craft Beverage Modernization Act. In part 1, we focus on the benefits of the CBMA program and how those discounts affect foreign beer, wine, or spirits. But if you're watching this video, the goal is to better understand what documentation is needed to properly fill out as per CBP and TTB guidelines. So we know that a claim is not considered complete until the CBMA spreadsheet, control group spreadsheet, and the assignment certification are provided to CBP. So I want to go over those 3 documents. That's the assignment certification, control group spreadsheet, and CBMA spreadsheet. So first, and I believe most importantly, is the CBMA assignment certification. In order to start that document, you need to understand who can ratify this document or who can be listed as the assigning entity. So that assigning entity should be the foreign producer of the alcoholic beverage. For the purposes of the definition for either foreign beer brewer, foreign wine producer, or foreign distilled spirits operation, CBP has actually left a very good resource in their Q&A page about CBMA. So we've left a link in the description called CBP CBMA Producer Definition. Now, whatever alcohol type you're bringing in, I recommend that you go through that webpage because it's very thorough and different whether it's wine, beer, or distilled spirits. But I just want to give an example of distilled spirits. So the assigning entity for the purpose of distilled spirits can be any entity that produces the distilled spirits from any source or substance, any entity that brews, makes, mash, wort, or wash fit for distillation, or for the production of distilled spirits, any entity that by any process separates the alcoholic spirits from any fermented substance, or an entity that manufactures, mixes, bottles, rectifies, denatures, or otherwise processes the distilled spirits. So this is just a small part of that guideline for the definition of producer. So it's worth reviewing your current process to ensure that the correct entity is listed as the assigning entity there. But once you have that document basically ratified by the assigning entity, ratifies that they are one of the aforementioned, also that they're allotting it to the importer of record, which if you happen to be a brand affiliated with Park Street does all of your customs entry documentation and is listed as the importer of record. So they're going to be allotting that to Park Street on behalf of your brand. We're also going to have them place the alcohol type and the amount that they're allotting and the rate. They're also, and this is very important, they're certifying that the producer has not allotted any more than the allowable rates provided by TTB to any one or multiple importers. So I believe that's the most difficult part of this document. And so we actually have another link, and that's going to be below, listed as TTB tax rate. That link gives a very good example of what the rate is for each alcohol type and how much can be allotted at that rate. So here's an example of distilled spirits. The regular rate, if you read through this, is $13.50 per proof gallon. But for the purpose of CBMA, they're going to be allotting at the rate of $2.70 per proof gallon for 100,000 proof gallons. Now, I want to stop here and just say, this is for any given year. So if we're in this year, 2022, let's say that you are only going to be importing 10,000 proof gallons. You do not need the full 100,000. You're going to say at the rate of $2.70 for 10,000 proof gallons. Now, if you happen to be working with a huge producer, you want to make sure that if you're not able to get at the first 100,000 proof gallons at that lowest $2.70 rate, there is a higher rate that's just a bit lower than the regular rate, which is $13.34. And then there's an insane amount of up to 22,230,000 proof gallons there to allot. So there's basically savings for anybody when it comes to distilled spirits. Now I want to talk through the control group spreadsheet. As part of the CBMA provision, importers are required to submit a CBMA control group spreadsheet for each assigning entity that they have. Now, this is an Excel sheet, And it looks a little bit complex, but it's really just where you list any assigning entity you have. If you have multiple, meaning you bring in multiple bottles from different producers or different entities, foreign entities, they can all be listed on one Excel, or you can have one assigning entity per Excel. We leave that to you. Now, on this document, you're simply going to put the assigning entity, reflect their name, their full address, including their country, state, and region, whether the product is foreign, and the annual production. Your annual production should match or be greater than whatever they're allotting on the assignment certification. And then lastly, and the easiest one for you, if you happen to be a brand that's affiliated with Park Street as the importer of record, you don't have to do a thing for this document. This CBMA spreadsheet is a document that is sent on every single shipment that either crosses the border or comes by air or ocean vessel. At the time that we're doing the customs entry, we actually put that together and make sure we take the original allotment and we subtract from there to make sure that we're utilizing all of the allotment given by the assigning entity. So I just want to recap our time today. In order to be fully compliant, you should have a valid assignment certification, a control group spreadsheet for each assigning entity, or one control group spreadsheet that includes all of the assigning entities listed, and a CBMA spreadsheet, which again, if you're a brand that works with Park Street and we're the importer of record for your foreign alcoholic beverage, we'll handle that part in conjunction with the customs documentation filed upon arrival. Lastly, I got a little bit of breaking news here. CBP and TTB recently announced that the governing body that's going to oversee the CBMA process is going to be changing starting in January 1st of 2023. Now, up until this point, CBP is the one that has done all of the CBMA processing for imported goods, but that's going to all be handed over to the TTB. At the moment, it's really not clear how that process will affect our current process, but rest assured that Park Street is at the forefront of working with legislators, governing entities, and legal counsel to ensure that any updates and any changes will be sure to bring any new information to you. So for the time being, if you do have any questions on any of these three documents that I talked about, I really recommend that you reach out to cbmtr@parkstreet.com. That's cbmtr@parkstreet.com. For now, have a productive week.